Hey guys, here I am and still doing where the Trail Magic is, about 16 miles south of Damascus, and I got me another hiker, and you know how excited I get when I get a hiker that says they'll interview and give us information. Give us your trail name and anything about yourself that you'd like to share.
Cool. Well, I am Root Beer.
Root Beer?
Yeah.
I heard about you before you got here.
Yep. I got myself a can of root beer, and the way I got my trail name was I came across some Trail Magic at Stokoe Gap, and there was a bunch of snacks, and one of them was a can of root beer, and I was like, I want one of these for my 0 day tomorrow. I didn't know that Jacob's Ladder was between there and my 0 day, so I packed it up and over, that giant monstrosity, just so I could enjoy it on my 0 day.
I like your scarf.
Oh, thank you.
You
Yes.
got that at 76 Outdoors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some great people there.
Yes.
I know those folks. When did you start your through hike?
I started March 4th. This is, I think, day 50.
Really? Okay.
49 or 50, somewhere around there. So.
Close enough.
Yep.
And you're not far from 500 miles. I mean, it's right in front of you.
Yep.
How long have you thought about doing this?
Years.
Really? Tell me
Years.
about that. How did you first hear about the Appalachian Trail? Do you remember?
So the first time I ever stepped foot on it, I hadn't heard about the trail until I stepped foot. But I was doing college interviews, and one of them was in Dartmouth, and so I went up there, and one of the activities we wanted to do, my mom and I, was go hiking. And so we were like, all right, what's good hiking in the area? And we found this random trail that was going through the campus, and so we decided to go on. We did a short hike, went up to a shelter and came back. And I didn't know what the trail was at the time, but that was my first time I ever stepped foot on the Appalachian Trail.
Close to Dartmouth.
Close to Dartmouth.
Was
so
it just,
Hanover.
do you know if it was, yeah, Hanover.
Yep.
So do you know if it was north of Dartmouth? Because I know that area pretty good.
I don't know if it was
Or south.
north of Dartmouth, but the Velvet Rocks shelter was the one that
Okay.
I stopped at. I looked it up later
Okay,
so I
I'm
could
gonna
go
look it up
back
today.
and take another
Okay.
picture there.
I know.
Yeah.
So how old were you then, you think?
How old was I?
Yeah, when
Oh,
you-
18.
Okay.
17 or 18.
And
yeah.
so have you had to quit a job, or are you in between jobs? How are you out
Yeah,
here now?
actually, I was fortunate that I finished up school in November, and so since I've graduated, I just didn't start a new job, but I know a lot of other hikers that had to quit jobs. So I didn't have to quit, I just didn't
You're in
start
between.
one. So I'm in between jobs. So.
Okay. Now, how hard was that to plan for, as far as financial and all of that?
It's a lot of prep work in advance. You have to put together your logistics, like, first of all, do I have to quit a job? Will I be able to ask my employer to come back after the trail? What do I do about my house? About, if you have family members that are behind, dependents, pets. Some people bring their pets on the trail,
Right.
but for me, I didn't have too many other things. I just had to worry about the financial situation. So I set that up. So I have at least, I think the AT recommends $1,000 per month while you're on the trail. So I set that aside, so I at least had that, plus a little nest egg for when I come back. Since I'm unemployed, that means I need time to find another job after I come back. And then for all my stuff, I had my parents' house that I was able to put my stuff at, so I don't have to be leasing anything out or doing like an Airbnb in a house, which I know other hikers do, but
That's good. You've done your homework.
Yeah.
I've interviewed a lot of hikers, and that was one of the probably best answers I've got about finances and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about, is it what you thought it would be?
in a lot of ways yes, in a lot of ways no. So
Okay.
you watch all these vlogs, you get this kind of the highlights reel of the trail, like all the beautiful views and all, like even the low lights, but you don't get the middle of
Right.
it. You don't get the monotony. You don't get, it actually takes you 100 miles to get between these cool towns. And what do you do in that time? So I definitely, I knew that I'd encounter, you know, days of rain, slogging through rain and packing up a wet tent, or, you know, cold snaps, or trail magic. Like I knew some of the mechanics of this trail, but I
Okay.
didn't know exactly everything, which is nice. I think I didn't want to spoil myself too much for the trail. I
And
didn't
that-
do too much research.
Yeah, and I've had several people say they didn't try to find anything out.
Yeah.
They wanted it all to be
Brand new.
you know, but logistically that's a nightmare because you have to figure out where you're going to get your food.
You have to do some prep work
Yeah.
to know how to get what you need.
Yeah.
But as long as you do that, like the first town experience is kind of hectic, and then you get into a rhythm, and the rest of it you don't have to like research
Right.
to death.
What do you miss the most about not being home today?
Oh, hot food. I'm cold soaking, so
Okay.
I don't get things that are like instantly hot anymore. I could, but I sent my stove home, so.
Something other than food, what would you say?
Other than food.
I'm gonna pick your brain here.
How about pillows that are soft?
Okay.
Multiple pillows, having
Okay.
multiple pillows.
And you know, I've asked that question over 8 years, and what I'm keep wanting somebody to tell me, what would you think Jimmy would want somebody to tell him that they ought to be missing back at home?
That they should be missing? I
Yeah,
don't
something.
know.
A
I don't know.
toilet.
I don't
a
think-
toilet. A toilet.
Well, of course, a
Well,
toilet.
nobody tells me that
But
though.
the thing is, you get toilets intermittently on the trail.
I know.
Like you get privies and
I
stuff.
know.
Right?
But there's lots of times in the woods too.
There's lots of times in the woods, but there's been enough times where I can just get into a town in time.
I get you.
Where
I
it's
hear
like,
you.
all right.
In fact, you know what I'm going to tell you? A lady I interviewed about 4 years ago. She finished a through hike, and in her interview, she said she never pooped in the woods the whole time.
Yeah, some people they call it
That's
brown
amazing.
blazing.
That's
Brown
amazing.
blazing is hopping from privy to
Okay.
privy or town
I didn't
to town.
know. I never heard that.
Yep.
Okay, you gave me something
People
new.
never have to dig a cat hole once.
I learn every day.
Yep.
Now, the other thing, though, I keep thinking somebody, you said pillow, which is close.
Yep.
I keep thinking somebody's going to say their bed. No one ever says their bed.
No one says their bed exactly, but like what I like about my bed is not necessarily, it's not memory foam, it's not beautiful like raising the back or anything like that. It's literally just a bunch of pillows around me. Being able to like be comfortable on my
Yeah,
side.
just kind of fold up.
Right?
Okay. Well, what would your friends or whatever your friends think about you being out here, or family? Do you have family members, and what do they say about you being out here?
Yeah, well, my dad was definitely worried. He was one of the most concerned ones in terms of safety on the trail.
Good dad.
Because yeah, it's not without its risks. I did my research in that area
Right.
too, and you have to be prepared. The better prepared you are, the less you've lessened your risk.
Right.
But then I have a lot of other people that are like, oh my gosh, you're doing this trail, that's crazy, once in a lifetime thing, like this is huge, I wish I could do that with you. So like there's a spectrum of responses, and I think everybody that I've told has been supportive, just different degrees of like either excitement or nervousness.
Now, when do you expect to be finished? Do you have any expectations of when you'd like to do that?
Yeah, so most people on average finish within 6 months.
That's right.
That was the thing I was shooting for, not because I have a particular date
Okay.
I need to finish, but because I was like, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
Plus, the longer you go, the more money you spend. So
Right,
it'd
exactly.
be nice not to be here infinitely. You also have to beat the weather and Katahdin. So they close Katahdin at a certain time of year because it gets so bad.
Exactly.
So I need to get there before that, but that's somewhere in mid-October usually.
Yeah, it is.
And most people finish either late August or early September.
That's right.
So I think that's fine. Even if I'm going a little bit slower than the average person, I'll still get there before Katahdin closes.
Well, you've got everything under control, I guarantee you. I'm not going to keep you any longer because I know y'all got miles to hike, but I am going to ask you the last thing I usually ask everybody. Who do you want to say hello to before we let you go?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously
Take
my
your
mom and
time.
dad.
Hey, that's the number one answer.
Yep. And my partner and my lab members who will be joining me at the end of this hike. Yeah, and everybody who supported me, the trail angels and the people, the fellow hikers that are around me, you honestly can't do this trail without them. It's incredible. Literally, we have Trail Magic right here that out of the goodness of their hearts, they brought food free of cost just for us hikers. And so I am incredibly grateful for all of that.
Okay, God bless every step between here and Katahdin, and I hope I see your
you so
smiling
much.
face up before you finish.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Have it. Okay, give me your YouTube channel.
Yes, so it's my name, Korleki, Korleki, last name Akiti.
All no spaces,
Space between my first and last name.
and say it one more time,
Korleki Akiti.
and then spell it. K.
Korleki space Akiti.
Good deal.